So on the way, he had to deliver so many religious talks and explains so many things and answer to many problems. So here in this Mahaparinibbana Sutta, during the first council, so the disciples have collected all the sayings of the Buddha within those 3 months, then compile into one particular sutta. And the final word, parting word of the Buddha also there in this sutra. This is the meaning of Mahaparinibbana Sutta. It's a very long sutra. I remember nearly 2 or 3 years ago, I have explained from the very beginning up to the end of this sutra. It has taken not less than 6 months for me to complete this sutra. So today, I am going to take only one quotation, the sayings of the Buddha from this Mahaparinibbana Sutta. So it is in this book. This book was printed 86 years ago in Sri Lanka. 50 years ago, when we were studying, we used this book. Now you can see Silverfish has done nice design here. And they have digested the book also. I think their knowledge is better than our knowledge. Digested very nicely. So, the quotation that I am going to take from this Mahaparinibbana Sutta is this. Panchime gahapatayo anisansa silavato sila sampadaya katame pancha idha gahapatayo silava sila sampanno appamadadi karanam mahantang bhogakhandang adigacchati ayang patamo anisanso. The Buddha started to explain the significance of observance of Sila. Why people observe Sila? What do they gain by observing Sila? Here he says there are 5 results they experience immediately. Now we have to define this word Sila. What is Sila? The Sanskrit word is Shaila, Pali or Sila. The real meaning is nature. Then why it is called Sila in Buddhism? That means naturally we like to do bad things. We are used to commit evil. Therefore they are natural occurrences. That is our habit. Not necessary to learn, but to learn good things, we have to spend a lot of time, use our efforts. To do bad things, not necessary to use the effort. So when we try to keep away without committing such evil deeds, that is called Sila. That means we are used to do bad things. By realizing this, we observe certain principles, then keep away. That method is called Sila. the meaning of Sila. Then there are two, Charitra Sila and Varitra Sila. Charitra Sila means to do something. Varitra means keep away, avoid. Two ways for us to observe Sila. People think that the Sila means only negative aspect. Not to do this, not to do this, not to do this, not to kill, not to steal, not to drink, not to dance, not to this, not to do. No, that is not Sila. There are many things for us to do under this Sila. Charitra and Varitra. There are many good things we had to perform to do some service to others, to enlighten others, to advise others, to help others, those who are in trouble. All these are under this category, because we have to discipline our mind to do some service to others. Some people believe when they observe Sila, they should not do anything. I do not know who taught this kind of Buddhism to them. Even sweeping, cleaning, washing also, they cannot. The Buddha did not introduce that kind of lazy life for people to observe as Buddhism. While abstaining from bad things, the time you had to use to do good thing without keeping quiet. Charitra and Varitra. Then how to observe? Those who have no religion also observe Sila. Certain good principles. By considering this kind of wicked or cruel or immoral practices disgrace our human dignity. By considering in this way, they try to keep away from bad things. They too observe Sila. Some others, even without any religion, observe this Sila by knowing if they violate any of these bad habits, these things can create enormous sufferings, disturbances, pains, calamities. So why should I disturb other living beings? Allow them to live freely without disturbing them. Through that understanding, they observe certain principles. That is also Sila. Some others observe as commandment or religious laws given by supreme authorities. So if we violate any of these religious commandments and law, the God will punish us. Therefore we should not violate. So they keep away from bad deeds just because they don't like to be punished, to avoid punishment for their safeguard, security. But Buddhism does not encourage this kind of observance. if we observe Sila only for our own protections and precautions, to avoid our own sufferings, without considering how others suffer, it is selfishness. Therefore, we must understand. It is true that we had to suffer, but it is more dangerous for us to violate and disturb and create sufferings among other living beings. This is the Buddhist attitude. Some others observe Sila, thinking, we have already made vows. We promise by observing 5 precepts, 8 precepts, we promise not to violate, not to do these bad things. So by considering on their principles that they have observed, they uphold the principles without violating. Some others observe, when we observe these precepts, not only we serve others to live peacefully, we cultivate certain good qualities, virtues, knowledge, understanding, kindness, compassion, cooperation. See, all those good qualities we can cultivate by observing Sila. Now we can understand. This is the pure Buddhistic method, the real significance of observance of Sila. Now let us refer to the Buddha, what he has said. What are those 5 results that we can experience by observing the Sila, the precept or principles, or cultivating moral background, discipline? Panchame gahapatayo anisansa silavato. Sila sampadaya katame pancha. Pancha means 5. Ida gahapatayo silava silavanto appamadadhikarana mahantang bhogakkhandang adhigacchati ayang patamo anisanso silavato sila sampadaya. The first result that we experience according to the Buddha is this. By upholding certain good principles, we gain what we want. We never lose anything. To lead a worldly life, comfortable, peaceful life, observance of Sila support us. When you analyze this, you can understand the real meaning. When people come to know that you are men of principles, you observe certain good qualities. Under any circumstances, you are not ready to violate certain principles. Then people regard you as honest or sincere, understanding person. They respect you. They are willing to help you. When you are in trouble or when you need their support. Why do people support religious people, especially monks? Whether they are good or bad, your impression is monks are religious people. They observe certain good principles. They are harmless people. They don't bluff and swindle and disturb others. They maintain their good qualities. Then you are willing to provide everything for them. This is the way how virtues and good qualities support us to maintain our life, to lead our life peacefully without facing many problems. Whether monks or laymen makes no difference. In any country, in any society, in any part of the world, the followers of any religion respect. When they come to know that you have certain good qualities and good principles, because they are universal principles, not confined to one particular country or community. That is what the Buddha says here. The first result that you experience, you gain everything. You gain respect. And people are willing to support you, help you. You may get more than enough thing than those who work to gain something. It is true. Then the next item, Punacha parang gahapatyo siyaloto siyala sampannassa kalyano kitti saddo abbugacchati ayang dutiyo anisanso siyaloto siyala sampadaya. The second result, good results that we experience. Kalyano kitti saddo abbugacchati. Good reputation spread all over the country, if not all over the world. So and so is like this. Now when you study certain Jataka stories, previous birth stories of the Buddha, how he had to uphold certain silas or principles even at the risk of his life to gain his enlightenment. So why the whole mankind respect and worship this man? Because of these principles. Not only the Buddha, there were many others. We can respect Jesus Christ. He had to die because of his principles. Socrates had to die because of his principles. Mahatma Gandhi had to die because of his principles. The whole world respects him. In our case, we are very weak. We are very selfish. We are willing to violate at any time for our protections and precautions and run away. But great people are not like this. To them, their principles are more important than this dirty, filthy, ugly physical body. They value their principles. That is what the Buddha says here. Kalyano kitti saddo abbugati. Spread the good reputation all over the world. I think you have heard that I mentioned earlier. Not only human beings, how other living beings respect and keep away without disturbing those who observe Sila. Sakra, the king of the god in heaven, we worship him thinking he is the most powerful divine being, Deva. But you do not know Sakra, the king of God. Respect and worship those who observe Sila. Ye gahattha punyakara Silavanta upasaka dhammena dharan posen tam namasanti sarati. Here Sakra says. Ye gahatta, not monks, he is talking about lay people. Ye gahatta, any householder. Punyakara, perform meritorious deeds. Those who perform meritorious deeds, that means those who do good deeds. Sila, those who observe precept, 5 precepts, 8 precepts, 10 precepts, observe certain principles. Upasaka, those who are devout and lead a noble life. Dhammena dharang posin, those who protect and maintain and support their families, their wife, their children, by earning in righteous way, harmless way, respectable way, without hurting, without bluffing. Tam namasami sarati. I respect thee. Now here you can understand what the Buddha said. Not only human beings, even devas also respect you when you observe this sila, the virtues, universal value in sila. Devils, ghosts, spirits, those so-called unfortunate, invisible living beings, also do not disturb. They always keep away. They too respect. Animals, snakes, fierce animals in the jungle, those who meditate in the jungle, those fierce animals never come and disturb them, because they are radiating their kindness towards all those living beings. This is the power of sila. Then other human beings, when they come to know you are innocent, that means you do not harm others, they don't want to disturb you. And they say, you are a gentleman. This is the second result that we gain within this time by observing sila. Observing sila does not mean that changing your clothing into white color and come to the temple early morning and stay here doing nothing and what they call sila you can observe anywhere, at home, the place where you work, in the society, for you to uphold certain good principles. Actually, sila is important to practice in the society when we work with others, not when we are alone. When we are alone, we can observe all the precepts because there is nobody to disturb us. When you are good, I am also good. When you are nasty, I also can become nasty. This is the nature of human life. So, when you are nasty, if I can maintain my principle, then it will become sila. Third one. Punajya paranga patyo silava sila sampanno Yanyeva parisang upasankamati yadi khatya parisang yadi brahmana parisang yadi gahapati parisang sadisa sampannam visarado upasankamati amanka bhuto ayang tatyo anisanso silvato sila sampadaya. The third result. Those who observe sila, wherever they go, in any society, in any country, whether they are kings or the ministers or the rulers or rich people or poor people or educated or uneducated, all of them respect you, welcome you, trust you. Then you also get the courage to stand firmly. That is the most important thing. Because you have no guilty concerns. You know you are pure. You are not cunning or selfish. You are not immoral. So you have courage to stand in front of rulers or the kings or the ministers, because the power of the virtue. This morning we went to meet the Deputy Prime Minister to discuss our religious problem. I was holding my book, How to Live Without Fear and Worry, in my hand. Then he saw this one. He said, "What is this?" I told, "This is a book written by me. Can I have this?" I told him, "Actually, I purposely was to present you." So he was very happy. "Oh, how to live without fear and worry. That is what I need actually." Then, yes, "Can I have some more Buddhist book to read? Because I want to know the basic principle of this religion." And I said, "Yes, I can send a very nice book for you to read. The Buddha and his teaching, the historical background and the teachings and everything is there. So we are going to send him a book for him to read." So understanding people know how to appreciate. This is the power of the virtues and the good qualities. So wherever they go, people welcome and respect. This is what the Buddha says here. The third result that we experience. Fourth one, punaja parang gahapatyo silva sila sampanno asammulho kalang karoti ayang chatutho anisanso siloto sila sampanno. This is also very important. Those who observe precepts or principles or virtues, asammulho kalang karoti, die peacefully, without suffering, without dragging, without creating worries and disappointment and confusion. Face peaceful death. Yes, it is true. There is nothing to argue. Those who observe good principles have no guilty concerns or feeling that I have committed this, I have done this, I have done this, I have done this, then worry. When the death comes to them, all these evil forces create enormous troubles and worries and disturbances. So they cannot die peacefully. I think you can remember, I told you, whenever we are going to die, we had to go through 3 stages in our mind. Otherwise we cannot die. The body may turn into pieces or ashes, but the life never dies. I told you, body is not the life. What are those three? Kamma, Kamma nimitta, and Gati nimitta. Nimitta means sign, signal or indication. Appear in our mind. The belief that some people maintain that the God come and take away something from here, the devil come and take away something, is only imagination, not knowing what really happened. During our lifetime, every minute, either mentally or verbally or physically, we commit, we do certain good things and bad things. No one can live. A worldly person cannot live without creating good karma or bad karma. So all these activities, going on recording in our mind, then recorded in the subconscious mind, deposited. At the last moment, when the senses are not working with the mind, when the mind cannot create mental image or imagination, at that time, mind is free. That means mind cannot get any external object at that moment, at the dying moment. The mind is open. That is the time the subconscious mind projects all the mental activities. Good and bad, and good and bad, and good and bad, going on, working like a film show. So we die in between one of those thought moments. Whatever appear at the last thought, then we grasp it, hold. Then according to that thought, signature or the signal, indication appear. Now karma appear already. Karmic thought, either good one or bad one. According to this karmic thought, karmic effect, kamma nimitta. Nimitta means indication. To understand whether this is a good one or bad one, whether we are going to experience pleasant or unpleasant life, the mind experience. Then, last one, Gati nimitta. According to this karma, the deciding factor is there, where to go. There is nobody to come and take you. There are 5 mental energies working within that. One mental energy is to pull, craving, attachment. Another mental energy is to push, either this way or that way. Another mental energy to decide. There are 5. I have explained these things earlier. Then this one is just like a rocket. The departed person's, the consciousness is just like a rocket. Then boom. Go and land somewhere, according to the ingredients in that consciousness. So this man, who was about to die, invited the monks to come and do some chanting. When the monks were chanting, he got that indication. That means he saw some angels come down from heaven and asking him to get into one of their vehicles. That is his sign, according to his own karma. Then he said, wait, stop. The monks thought he asked them to stop. So they stopped their chanting and gone back to the temple. Again, when he got back his normal mind, this semi-conscious stage, then he asked, what happened to the monk? Then somebody told him, you asked them to stop, so they have gone back. He said, no, I did not ask them to stop. I asked those angels to stop their vehicle. I want to listen to this chanting. This story you can see in Dhammapada. Here the Buddha says, so one who observes the Sila can pass away, can die without worrying, without crying, without creating fear, without suspicion, without confusion, with clear mind, and depart from this world to have another better rebirth. That is the fourth result that we experience by observing Sila. The last one is Punacha parang gahapatyo silava sila sampanno kayassa beda parammarana sugating saggang lokang uppadya. Punacha parang saggang lokang uppadya. So one who observes this universal principle, even without any religious label, after his or her death, rebirth never takes place in any of those miserable states, such as hell, or animals, or ghosts, or devils. Again, although they were born in certain heavenly realms, or Devaloka, if not Manusyaloka as human beings, and they never become unfortunate human beings, such as deaf and dumb and cripples and mentally retarded. Very normal human figure with knowledge and understanding, with all the features natural human. Saggang lokang uppadyanti. Sagga is a Pali word, Swarga is a Sanskrit word. They interpret this as heaven. The meaning of this word, Sagga, far away from suffering. That means no more suffering there. That place is called Sagga. So where people or living beings can experience more pleasant, more pleasurable and nice, peaceful life. That is called Sagga or Swarga. And other religions define this as the final goal, where they can exist forever. That is called eternal or everlasting. Buddhism never acknowledge that belief. This is the difference. Buddhism accepts the existence of Sagga or Swarga, where living beings can experience more pleasure, more peaceful, more happy life. Since this so-called Sagga or Swarga is also under worldly conditions, not gone beyond anicca, dukkha, anatta, under the universal law of impermanence and friction. Only difference is in Sagga or Swarga or heaven, people can have very, very pleasurable life. They can forget their worries and sufferings and sicknesses and old age for a long period, sometimes incalculable in the terms of years, but means to an end. There will be an end. That is the universal. The only teacher who discovered and explained this is the Buddha. But many others believe that is the final goal. So by observing Sila, we can go to heaven, but we cannot go to Nirvana. Remember that. Because Sila is not the only thing. Sila, Samadhi, Panya, there are three things. You understand? You have to complete. Sila is to lay the foundation, prepare the background to build up our noble way of life. By observing Sila, we can have a very nice life, here and hereafter also. But that is not enough. There are two more. Samadhi. Although we observe Sila, our minds are unreliable. The roots of certain evil thoughts are still there, hiding. Under certain circumstances, when you arouse this thing, the man who observes Sila also can become a very nasty person. Because they have not completely eradicated the roots of the evil. By considering through their understanding, by upholding their principles or religious laws or commandments, they train their mind not to do certain things. That's all. Animals, wild animal, fierce animal, tigers, lions, you catch them and train them. Yes, when you go to circus, you can see how they play and dance and jump and cooperate with men. But still unreliable. There are many occasions suddenly jump and kill the master. Human beings also exactly like this. Although they behave by training their mind to be good, but their intrinsic natural character, there are certain hidden evil forces. To eradicate this, we have to practice the other two, Samadhi and Panya. Now, Samadhi here directly deal with the mind to find out where the mistake is in our minds. Then try to uproot. When we remove all these things, then the mind becomes very calm, very serene and reliable. Today we are observing certain sealas, certain precepts, no doubt. But our way of life is very unreliable. Any moment we can change our attitude. Any moment we can bluff others, telling lies. But we observe sila. This is the uncertainty of our mind. To get rid of this, we have to come to samadhi. Training, discipline, and cleaning. Cleans the mind from the dirts that we have accumulated. Samadhi. Then we gain knowledge, understanding, wisdom, enlightenment. That is panya. So simply by observing sila, you won't get panya. And you cannot attain nirvanic bliss simply by observing sila. But without sila, you cannot practice the other two. Because we are very wild without sila. So, here in this is one of the items the Buddha has mentioned in his discourse on the way when he was going to pass away. The significance of sila. Why do people observe sila? And they gain these 5 results. The first one, they gain what they need. They can lead very happy, peaceful, worldly life without complaining, without grumbling. Then, good reputation spread all over the country, all over the world. Then we can, wherever we go, whether in high-class society or any society or any country, people welcome and respect us. We can stand with firm, with conviction, without any guilty feeling, any inferiority complex. We can stand anywhere. Because we know we have principles. Then, one day when we are going to die, we can die peacefully without worrying and crying, without any confusion in the mind. Then, easily we get the chance to gain some sort of meritorious deeds, the good karmas that we have done earlier, in early part of our life. Last, after our death, rebirth never take place in any of those miserable states such as hell or animals or devils or ghosts. Although rebirth take place in various other planets, in Manussa, Deva and Brahma, 3 stages, regarded as fortunate living beings when compared with others, unfortunate ones. But human life become miserable due to our selfishness, craving, the way how we handle, how we use our life is responsible for that. If we know how to handle this life, life never becomes miserable. Whether we are rich or poor, educated or not, life never becomes miserable. Because we know how to face problems and difficulties. Because problems and difficulties are common, natural. This is the nature of worldly life. There's nobody, no living beings in this world who can lead a peaceful life in this world without facing problems and difficulties. But through our understanding, we can overcome, we can ignore, and we can face them. or we can avoid certain things. So human life is very fortunate because that understanding is there for us to cultivate. But when we go to Devaloka, where living beings or Devas experience more fortunate, more pleasurable life than human life, their understanding, their wisdom, their purity cannot compare with human life. They are fortunate in worldly sense to experience worldly life, but not capable enough to develop the spiritual way of life in Devaloka. This is the difference. We have all these potentials, but due to our ignorance or stupidity or craving, we spoil our life. When we go to Brahma world, their life also different. In many of those Brahma worlds, they use only 2 senses. They have subdued, control the other 3. Eyes and ears, only these 2. Other 3, this and this and this, are not active, subdued. Because of that, they have more opportunities to lead a peaceful life. Because only 2 senses are disturbing them. In our case, 5 senses are disturbing us. Again we create our mental image. 6. That is why there is no peace in our mind. So the Brahmas lead a very, very peaceful life for a long period by using only those 2 for their survival, for their living. Even then, there will be an end to their way of life. This is the nature of existence. So here in this discourse, the Buddha has explained why it is necessary for us to observe Sila and what do we gain and what are the principles of Sila we have already learned earlier. So our duty is to observe as much as that we can. Because we are used to do more bad things. Naturally, from our childhood, we can see how we like to do bad things. We like to see bad things, immoral things. This is our nature. So the Sila is to avoid or keep away. But keeping away from evil deed does not serve very much. Because when you go back, again, you will be in the same society where people commit this kind of thing. Then you have no courage. And why do people come to the temple? To observe precept, 8 precepts. To avoid, to keep away from disturbances and certain bad things that others commit. So in the temple, they can have a peaceful life and nobody to disturb them and nobody to commit evil or cruel things in the temple so that they can keep away from bad things during that period. When they go back, again they get in the same trouble. So that is not the final solution. Anyway, something is better than nothing. So we have to train our mind to observe this principle while we are living in the society, not to joining with them, not to encouraging. That is why in Dhammapada, the Buddha says, Susukhang vata jivama verinesu averino verinesu manussesu viharama ave. It's a very meaningful, practical advice. Let us live happily amongst those who hate, among those who create evil things, wicked things, without joining with them. We can live happily although they commit bad things. Although they hate us, we can stay without hating them. So we have to train our mind to behave like this. Then, susukhang vata jivama, we can live peacefully, although others create trouble. So our complaint is, we cannot observe these things because others disturb. If there are no disturbances, there is nothing for you to observe. Observance is important to avoid those disturbances. Then it will become sila. Now when you want to rob something, your mind is persuading. Then you create the second thought. Why should I rob that? I know it is wrong. It is against my principle. It is against my religion. I disturb the order. Therefore, I don't want to rob. Then it is called sila. Otherwise, when you are quiet, when there is nothing to tempt you or to irritate you, there is no sila for you to observe. We have to train our mind up to that extent. Well, I think any 5 minutes more can give any questions. Close. Sākāsattha jabhummattha devānāgā mahiddhikā puññantaṃ anumodittvā cirang rakkantu loka sāsanam ittāvatā ca ammehi sampataṃ puñña sampadaṃ sabbhe devā anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhiyā devo vassatu kālena sassa sampatti hetu ca pīto bhavatu loko ca rājā bhavatu dhammiko idam ho ñātīnaṃ hotu Sukita huntu ñātayo imina puñña kammena māme bāla samāgamo sataṃ samāgamo hotu yāva nibbāna pattiyā.